right, so what we're going to do here is kind of go through our book, which is W3 Schools. W3 Schools is a website to help you learn different things. Now, I have headings here. So basically, you always have something on the left-hand side, some sort of topic that you're going to go ahead and use. Everything through here will give you a little bit of an understanding on how to actually utilize this and how it kind of looks. So it's a great resource when you actually need to see something or even try something before you put it in your document if you're unsure. So for instance, we have this example right here. I'm going to hit try it yourself. It opens up a new tab. Now, on the left-hand side here is our different headings. On the right-hand side is something that's rendered or compiled per se as to what it would look like inside of a browser. So when I actually come over here and I change this, let me just kind of zoom in just a little bit so you can see, and I change this to A, it doesn't change on the right hand side until I hit run. So you're able to go ahead and utilize this format here to put in anything. Now, is this just heading information? No, this is an actual browser. Everything else, it does not have Emmet capabilities, so you'll actually have to do something like this. You have to type it all out, including the closing brackets, and that's it. So you can utilize everything you need to here and say, ooh, well, how does this work before I actually sit down and put it inside my Visual Studio Code if you're a little nervous. So that made that bold. Utilize these techniques. Utilize this if you want to test something out, or if you're learning, go ahead and give things a try. Don't forget, on something like this, you can't break it. If it does, you just refresh the page. All right, so let's go ahead and take care of this. We're going to go ahead and give you a little code example for this assignment for text formatting. Looks like we just need to download the review zip and add some stuff to it. So basically, we showed you how to do the review.zip in another file. I'm going to add my own picture because it allows me to write something for what I like to do, and you should too. You could either copy this picture in this way or drag it in. I'm just going to basically go ahead and paste this in. There we go. All right. And then I'm going to open the folder. So we go File, Open Folder, and then inside the WEB105 folder, I open the review. I'm not going to open the WEB105. It makes things confusing as it keeps getting more and more into the class. Technically, you could do it, but it's a lot easier if you only open one assignment at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Select Folder, and that's going to open up our image here, our stuff here. So we have a styles, which I'll double click and it opens up a new tab, and the index, and that opens up another tab. Now, if I really wanted to, I can go ahead and split the editor and basically have one on the left and one on the right, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it here. So this is what we mean by each of the comments. What you're going to do is just right underneath this. Doesn't matter how you line things up. Remember, the internet does not mind spaces in here. Only between the tags is what it's going to try to do. So it wants an H1 tag. So I'm going to type H1. You'll see the Emmet abbreviation right there. I'm going to hit Tab, and that's going to give me an opening and closing tag. And basically the cursor is right here. So now I can go ahead and start typing. Okay. Add an image. Fantastic. So I want to add an image. So what I'm going to do is type in the command image. IMG is for this, and I'm going to hit Tab. This puts in different attributes right now. It gives us a SRC or source. And the nice thing about this is when you actually go ahead and highlight over or just basically move your mouse over, it does try to give you a little bit of information. but this is a source and an alt. Alt does nothing more than what happens when it can't load. You need something to go ahead and put in there. Google searches on this and says, ooh, this is an image of whatever your alt tag is. And it also is used for visual impairment to see what else is going on in your page. So let's go ahead and get to our source. Now our source is inside this images folder over here. So in order to get to this, it's not in the same folder as our index. So it is inside images. So as I type images, you'll actually see this right here. And then I clicked it, and then you can go into Harry Potter. Now you can use the keyboard to go ahead and do that also, but this allows you to load an image. And then the alt, perfect. So we're going to need to do a paragraph, an H2 tag, another paragraph, and then inside, please use the code on all of this. Okay. So what happens is that we're going to need to, let's add a paragraph here. And I'm going to use some garbage text. This is nothing more than placeholder text that we basically use when we don't have anything to write. You can use whatever you would like to use. I would prefer real stuff so that you can go ahead and start doing this. So I don't want you to use Lorem Ipsum, but please use an actual review. But inside here, what we're looking for in the code above, at least two of the following. Okay, so what happens is that these are all different inline things we can use, or tags. Bold text is for B. So let's go ahead and I'm going to pause and get this set up. We're going to go ahead and go live here. I have my server up a little bit differently. And I'm going to put up a screen right here so you can see. So I'm going to pause the video until it comes up. Alright, so I basically have all my code here on the left side and a preview here on my right. You can see the picture is relatively huge. We can fix that in numerous ways, but down here at the bottom we have all of our Lorem Ipsum stuff. So I'm going to make this kind of big and scroll down so you can actually see it. So what we're doing is some inline text. Bold here and strong is roughly the same thing. Emphasize and italics does the same thing too. But let's make this first one bold. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is put in my tag. And it wants to always end the beginning and ending tag. The easiest way to do this is cut this out and paste this around what you would like to do. So as I hit save, you'll actually see, there it is. That's bold now. Do you see how that changed to bold? So if I want smaller text, I can come over here and type small. And then I need to cut this. And I can paste this in. And when I hit save, it's now going to basically make this slightly smaller. That's all we need to do inside of here to take care of that. So that's all we're looking for here. Subscript, we can use superscript. Change this to there, and then SUP. Make sure the beginning and ending is there, and hit save. And now you can actually see the superscript above. That's all we're looking for here is, so basically make sure you have a beginning tag and an ending tag, and then put image information in. So that's what we're looking at for the assignment. Alright, so I have this set up. Basically on the left hand side we're going to have all of the code, and then the right hand side is going to be my preview screen here. We've done most of our copy. Once you're done with all of your copy or your HTML here, go ahead and head to the style sheet, which is inside the CSS directory here, and styles. You can open it this way, or I think I already had it open here on the tabs. All right, so the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is start looking at what we can do for all this information here. Okay, so first thing we have is a background color of white. This handles the body. The body, remember, is every single thing we see. So we can change the background color to whatever we want, like we can erase this, and type in whatever the pre-designed ones. Let's try Burleywood. And if I hit save, mine automatically does this. You might have to refresh yours. But they have a nice color that way. The other thing you can do is highlight over the little box here and actually change this to whatever you feel like. And it'll actually change it to an RGB color. RGB basically stands for red, green, and blue. So now I have a really dark screen here. Now notice, if I do a dark screen or dark background, I can't see my text. So always be wary of a little contrast to your text. So I can either come over here and start typing white, for instance, and that makes a nice pop off the back for that. Or, once again, any color, or use RGB, and you can do whatever you need to do. This right here is actually opacity. We're not going to play around with that for right now. So, this is my body, my text. I'm going to go ahead and start formatting this H1 tag here. And I don't believe, yeah, there's no ending thing here, and that's why this is all commented out. Basically, it just needs a asterisk here. So, if I want to handle the H1 tag, or all the H1 tags on here, I type H1, and I'm using the curly brackets here, and every single thing inside this beginning curly bracket to this ending curly bracket is going to affect that H1, and nothing else. So if I change the color of this, and this is how you change the color of the actual text, and you can actually see it here in the drop down. It sets the color of an element's text. That's what this one does. So we can, as you go up and down here, when you're looking at things, you can actually see what they do. And it's a really nice little feature in here, especially when you're trying to look and you're new and you're trying to figure out what else you can do with this. So for instance, if I do blue, and then I hit semicolon, because all statements here need a semicolon. It's okay to see. I wouldn't exactly try to do that. If you want to try to do a little blue, I'd probably come over here and maybe just make this is way too lilac. But you can actually see it. Alright, so we can use anything we want here. Make sure there's a semicolon here at the end. The next thing we're going to go ahead and play around with is anything in text. We can use something with the font. So, for instance, font family, I can come over here, and this is going to give me a bunch of options. Like, for instance, this is Gill Sans MT, then I think it's Calibri. I'm going to click that one. Yeah. What happens is that if it can't find this font, it's going to use this font, then this font, etc., all the way down. So when I hit save, you'll actually see... Sorry about that. I had to cough. So you'll actually see the font change right there. So that's fantastic. That's how we can deal with font family. So let's hit tab here, or let's get this in here. And now font size. We can change the font size even though it is an H1 tag. An H1 tag has a specific font size for it. We can make it whatever we want. Each of these are a specific one right here. So if I said larger, you'll actually see this, I believe, shrink. Yeah. And that's because if I can talk, the font size for this is larger as a default. You can use words, or you can use something called pixels. And we're going to use pixels. A pixel is nothing more, call it like the little period on the screen. So we can use any size we want. So I'm going to use 60 pixels, and this is how we write this. And then I hit save, and it'll actually make this really large. So that's what we're going to go ahead and use. You can use pixels for anything you really want to for sizing right now. We'll get into some more advanced stuff as time goes on. And then the last thing is I'm going to take this and put this in the center of the screen. Boom. So now I have this in the center of the screen, and I have my picture here. So let's talk about our picture a little bit, shall we? So I'm going to scroll down here, and this is the image. This is the tag that's associated with. And you'll see I have a width of 60%. And the reason, if I take this at 100, it makes it way too large. So you can use percentages here, or our pixels again. So if I came over here and hit 300 pixels and hit save, it makes it a lot manageable here. So you can use this. The nice thing about this is there are 2 dimensions in here, and the other one is a height. So you have a width and a height. Height of auto basically stops the squish. So your picture looks normal. So if I put in 100 pixels here for a height and I hit save, you'll see how this is right here with the squish. You don't want that. So basically the height usually sticks at about auto. Okay. So you have a nice picture that's called aspect ratio, when the width is a certain width and the height is associated to that. Display block. So what does this command do inside of here? Basically what we're doing is changing this to a block element. We'll get into more block elements a little bit later, but for all intents and purposes, we're putting a carriage return. Otherwise, if we don't have this in an image or something like that, it'll try to be inline. It'll just try to kind of meld into the text. So we want to put this by itself. Okay. The last one here is margin. Around every single element, there is a margin. And a margin basically says, hey, get away from me. It wants to give you a little space. And we're using a cool little thing here going forward on this. Let's see. Well, okay. I'm going to type this. This right here is, there's 4 margins on here. And I'm going to explain margin. Let me just kind of get this in here, and then I'll explain it. Okay. Once again, the web does not care how many spaces you put through anything. So this is an abbreviation. There's actually another one here. So this right here would put a 10 pixel margin on the top, on the bottom, and then left, and then right. It'll put 10 pixels. This second one says, hey, divide this up and say, hey, put a 10 pixel on the top and bottom, and then I don't care what it is on the screen. I want you to take an equidistant left and an equidistant right. And that's what centers our picture. These 2 right here are shorthand for these 4 that do the same thing. The top is 10 pixels, the bottom is 10 pixels, the left is auto, and the right is auto. So that is basically what you're doing. So if you want to center a picture, this command is the easiest way to do anything here. Okay. So that centers a picture right here. So what we're going to need to do going forward is we're going to need to develop your H2 tag, your H3 tag, and your paragraphs. So if you want your paragraphs to be a little bit bigger font, you can do that, etc. Just remember, it's the tag you want to do, and open and close brackets, and every single thing in here with a semicolon will affect it. So you're basically going to create and change some of the attributes of these tags so that you can make them look exactly the way you want to. Give it a try.